All right, welcome to the Ravit Show. We are here at Big Data Paris and AI as well this year. So excited about this. I'm with David, who's the VP of GTM at DinMo. Super excited to be here with you and kind of excited to learn a little about DinMo, about what you do at DinMo, and at the same time, obviously about the CDP space. So David,
Awesome.
welcome to the Ravit Show, and
Thank you for having me.
yeah, I would love to know a little about yourself, about DinMo, and
Sure.
about what you're doing at DinMo.
Yeah, 100%. So, firstly, thank you for having me on the show. It's a pleasure for us to be here.
Same here.
So, in terms of DinMo, we're a composable CDP platform.
Right.
The idea is data teams love us, and marketing teams really need us. We're the CDP space is a really busy space.
Right.
We're trying to revolutionize it and say that you no longer need to store data in your CDP. You can go composable. So that's kind of what we're all about. In terms of my role, I run everything sales and marketing. My background is not technical,
Wow.
but I'm learning and yeah, super excited to lead the team forward.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I'm also kind of curious on just on this topic itself. So, what do marketing teams need from data teams to implement their marketing strategies? Because you've been closely working with those teams, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of curious to learn a little about that.
Yeah, so what we see time and time again is that marketing teams or the companies have built these amazing, this amazing first-party data, and the problem is that they're not using that data within their marketing campaigns, which is where they can be so valuable.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to commoditize that data for the marketing team so they can use them as part of their campaigns to really optimize them and personalize them. As you probably know, and as your audience I'm sure knows, there's lots of customer data that can be stored in these data warehouses.
Yep.
We've got to get it to the marketing teams. They can use those to make sure that every ad, every piece of outreach, every interaction they're having is as personal to the user as physically possible.
That's fantastic. Thanks for those insights. I'm kind of also wanting to learn a little about the tools, the processes. How does it all work? And are there any tools that are available to meet these kind of needs? Because there's so much noise in this space,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes it kind of becomes difficult for the enterprise leaders out there as well to. Get the right tool or the right process and how it all works. So anything around those lines that you would like to share?
Yeah, so typically what we've seen companies doing in the past is build data pipelines themselves from their
Right.
data warehouse to these marketing tools. It takes a lot of internal work, a lot of data time. So kind of the next evolution was a reverse ETL type solution.
Yes.
That really is there to replace, it's more of a plug and play, replaces the need to build these internal data pipelines themselves.
Yep.
Was traditionally kind of and typically the way of freeing up that time.
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. And in terms of the reverse ETL as well, I'm pretty sure a lot of folks out there kind of still feel like, what is reverse ETL, right?
Okay.
Would you like to share a little about that as well, how it kind of all works?
Yeah, so I'm sure everybody's heard of an ETL solution,
Yeah.
something like Fivetran, for example, and many others. Reverse ETL is literally the exact opposite process. It's a solution that replaces the data pipelines,
Yep.
so that, as mentioned before, your first-party data can move into separate destinations. In our case, those marketing destinations, as marketing tools, Google ad solutions, email marketing solutions, SMS solutions, etc., etc.
Right. And do you, like, what do you suggest the enterprise leaders? Should they build it or, buy the reverse ETL?
Yeah, so look, we really believe that it should be something that a solution fixes that problem. We don't data teams really, they don't want to be too focused on just building and maintaining data pipelines. There is so many changes with these destinations and these marketing tools that you're constantly having to update based off of their requirements and also the data warehouses. So, having someone else fix that problem for you is going to save you a bunch of time and allow you to focus on the things that really matter, your data science, your data analysis, etc.
Yeah, no, I like it. I also kind of wanting to know a little about what's next at DinMo. How are you kind of looking at it? Because I'm pretty sure you talk to a lot of customers, a lot of prospects, a lot of community members out there as well.
Yeah.
What are you listening? What's the next thing that's coming up? And how is DinMo kind of wanting to, get to the next level as well?
Yeah, so I suppose speaking of reverse ETLs, they are great, but they're still very data focused. So what we're trying to do is we're really trying to empower the marketing users to be the ones that are actually using the solution. By doing this and giving them that, essentially we've created a user interface so that way, marketers with no coding experience, no SQL query experience, they can use that platform themselves, and that's going to really increase the usage of the first-party data. Ultimately, that's great for the marketing teams. They're getting the data they need to optimize their campaigns. But it's also really important for the data teams as well, because as we all know, we want to make sure that our data teams are proving return on investment.
Yes.
And there's no better way of proving return on investment than by supporting those marketing teams, optimizing campaigns. They work on ROI KPIs all the time, so they're going to be your best internal champion if you can get
I love it. Yeah, for sure. And I'm also kind of curious to learn a little about the different industries. I've been, recently I was talking to an enterprise leader that was actually working in e-commerce space.
Okay.
And he seemed to be very excited when it comes to obviously CDP and how they're kind of, obviously rolling things internally in their data teams. Have you been, which industry do you feel is making the most of the CDP space? What do
Interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting question. Ultimately, it's companies that are generating the most internal customer data. So B2C companies, direct-to-consumer companies. We see retail really, going through those digital transformation processes way earlier than most companies. So they, big supermarkets, big retail stores, they're doing it. But to be honest, it's more and more common nowadays from what we've seen that mid-market companies are hiring their first data individual and just starting to build that 360 customer view as soon as possible.
I love it. One more quick question for you is, I'm pretty sure our audience would love to reach out to you and learn more about different things that you're doing in this space, DinMo is doing, and how are you all helping the community? If they want to reach out, where can they do that? Is LinkedIn a best place or any other?
We're on every platform. So dinmo.com is our website, so feel free to jump on that. We're actually, the way that our solution works is we offer a 30-day free trial. It's one of the massive advantages of us being composable. We can snap it into your data infrastructure, and if it's not for you, that's fine. We won't be offended, but we are sure that it can add a lot of value. So dinmo.com if you just register on the website. If you want to contact me, David Bentham on LinkedIn. I post a lot about sales, so just a pre-warning about that. But you connect to us on all formats.
That's awesome. David, such a pleasure chatting with you on the Ravit Show. Thanks for taking the time out and telling us a little about the CDP and how it all kind of works. I'm pretty sure the audience would want to follow you and learn more things.
Amazing. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Ravit.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today.